In a chill living room, leather-bound chairs, aroma of cigars hangs thick in the air. I'm cigar making, the host with flair. Welcoming my guest, a legendary face with stories to spare.
A puff a minute, bringing tales untold. In the smoky haze, connections unfold. With a puff of smoke, a bond is made. No time to waste, let the memories cascade.
It's your man Cigar Make, man, coming at you with another Cigars and Conversations from a puff a minute. And I just want to share with you guys a little bit of what's been going on this week. I got my co-host Polo the dog with me today. You know what I'm saying? So we're chilling in the backyard studio, and gonna do something a little different today. So you know, first and foremost, like we always do, shout out to my man Matt, man, from La Polina Cigars, man. As I enjoy this La Polina Classic Connecticut this morning, man. Very, very enjoyable, light, creamy smoke for the morning time. As y'all can tell, it's pretty early in the morning out here. Had a nice night last night here in Las Vegas. As usual, you know, your man is hosting on Saturday nights over at Tap and Ash, man. And yesterday we had an outstanding event down there during the daytime from 2 to 5, where the ladies from the Ash and Out Cigar Group actually did a wonderful event called Puffin' Pink. And that's the time when they get, you know, a bunch of people together, not just ladies, but gentlemen as well. And they educate the community, right, about, you know, the horrors of breast cancer. And more importantly than that, they talk about prevention, right, and how to prevent, the best prevent breast cancer, or, you know, how to get early detection, you know, and how to support those who are going through it, right? Not just, the ladies who are dealing with the breast cancer, but even their loved ones, right? And family members who have to, be on the sidelines, right? How to best support them as well as they're dealing with, the mental anguish of having to support someone in their family that's dealing with, you know, any type of cancer, to be honest with you. Cancer is a horrendous disease. It's touched my family on a couple of occasions, and it's just not something that is easy to go through, regardless of who you are, right? So shout out to Sister Tammy Pettaway, who basically headed up that event, man. Shout out to Sister Cammy, man, who is the president of Ashing Out Cigars Society, and they did a wonderful event, I must say. And they do it every year. It's an annual event for them, so wonderful event. So let me tell you guys what we're doing today. All right, Tap and Ash is not your ordinary cigar lounge, right? They even got T-shirts now that says, you know, they not like Tap or something like that, right? And it's an outstanding statement because, again, it's not like any other cigar lounge that I've ever been a member of. This week, on Thursday, we had a special guest that came in to speak to the members of Tap and Ash, and it was the lady from Texas, House Representative member Jasmine Crockett, right, who came down. Many of y'all know who Jasmine Crockett is. If you don't know who she is, all I'm going to say is Google her. She is one of the fast rising stars, I would say, in the Democratic Party right now. And but she came by just to sit with us, man, and have something that was very informal, and just have a conversation and do some Q&A. And it's not uncommon, especially during this political season, for politicians to come around. See, Polo agrees. For politicians to come around and talk at you, right? And to give you talking points, and to give you reasons why you should vote this way or that way or what have you. But it's not often where they'll come and talk with you. And that's exactly what took place this Thursday. It was during this particular session while I was there with my iPhone, and I was recording, and it dawned on me that, man, this would be pretty awesome if I was able to share this with our audience, right? And then when it was done, I was, blessed to be able to take, some pictures with her. And I asked her, I said, would it be okay if I shared, what I recorded here today with my Puff a Minute audience, right, with our viewers and our listeners? And she said, yeah, absolutely, that would be cool. So that's what I'm about to share with you guys. Now, I'm going to tell you up front, this is not, what I would call professional, right, footage, right? I'm shooting it on my iPhone, I'm moving around, there's people's heads is popping up in the way. I did not have her mic'd up, so the audio quality is probably not perfect or anything like that. But if you listen and listen intently, there's some jewels up in there, right? So I just want to share this with you guys. I hope you get something out of it. It's not very long, it's probably about 15, 20 minutes worth of content. But that's going to be it today. So go ahead and light one up, hang out with us, and enjoy this special edition of Cigars and Conversations with a Puff a Minute. Your man, Cigar Mick. We love you. We'll be back next week with our regular content. Peace. We out.
One of the things that politicians usually don't talk about is the money for research. Research to make sure that we can eradicate things such as cancer in all forms. Making sure that the disproportionate impact that cancer, specifically breast cancer and triple negative, have on Black women. Making sure that the dollars are there. Making sure that we are investing not only in a cure, but making sure that these women are getting access to the health care that they need so that they can get assessed as quickly as possible, because we know that the later that you find out, the more difficult it is to overcome. So thank you for that, because that's just one of the things that we don't talk about. We don't talk about our budget and where the priorities lie in our budget, and a lot of times the fights that we have are over-researched. And we are not getting the money that we need to make sure that we can save lives in this country because of some of the crazy fights that we have. So I do thank you for that, because you allow me an opportunity to talk about something that is really important to our community. Listen, y'all know why I'm here. Oh, yeah. And y'all know who I'm here for. I don't really know what else to say except for this obviously feels like a family atmosphere. So I want to say, number one, thank you for allowing me to come and visit at the family cookout. Or maybe the family smokeout. And I also want to do something that a lot of times people just don't have an opportunity to do. A lot of times politicians come in and they talk at you, but you very rarely actually get to find out the answers to the questions that you have. And if anybody knows anything about me, you know that I'm real at all times. Good, bad, or indifferent. So I thought they were going to kick me off the campaign trail a long time ago because I'm not really good at reading talking points. I just keep it real. And I think that that's one of the things that people have been looking for in politics, and it's one of the reasons that people have been turned off. It's because they feel as if there's a lack of authenticity in the people that have signed up to allegedly work for them. And I say allegedly because there is this idea of kind of a king or queen attitude that you get from some people in elected office. But the reality is that the power has always belonged to the people. And I don't want anybody to ever take that power for granted. There are those that want us to believe as if we are powerless. I am here to tell you that we wouldn't end up with the voter suppression bills that we see passing through various states. We wouldn't end up with the antics about water at polling locations in Georgia, or let's do a hand count. All of the games that they're playing is because they understand that the people have the power. The problem is that some people don't recognize their power. And so I know that you know that the entire country is going to be looking at y'all on November 5th. And I am willing to do any and everything, including not sleeping, because I am not, to make sure that we win. Because I cannot continue on. Being in the belly of the beast has convinced me that we are even more jacked up than I thought we were. I mean, seriously, like my life was a lot simpler dealing with murderers. I'm just saying that. Because that's what I did in my former life. I did criminal defense. I've done every kind of case that you can think of, and I did it for almost 20 years. I have dealt with real life killers. So when they try to play with me, I'm like, you lightweight. Right, I got this. I've dealt with like legit folk, right? But here's the deal. People are turned off by politics. People are turned off by politicians. And it's unfortunate because regardless of how anybody feels about their options for politicians, it's going to be somebody. And you may as well make your voice heard. And you may as well, whomever gets into office, you may as well be in a position to say, I put you there, I can take you out. So we need to have a conversation. We need to stop looking for perfection in our preachers and our politicians. Because you will get let down every single time. But one thing we should never give up on is seeking a more perfect union. So with that, I just want to answer questions, if you have any, about anything. I am an open book.
Well, real quick,
Yes.
I want to introduce myself. My name is Michelle.
Yes.
That's my husband, Melvin, over there.
Hey, Abby.
We are the proprietors of this state. And this is our family. And when we told them you were going to be here, as you see, they turned out. There's even more of them in the back. But I just wanted to introduce myself and thank you so much for coming. And just to let you know, when you cross our threshold, you become our family as well. So thank you so much for coming. And now, who wants to ask a question?
I'm all right. How you doing, sis? I look at you all the time. I look at you all the time. You're a powerful sister.
Yes. This is Miguel, by the way.
You know, I don't like nothing Texas but you. I'm just speaking truth, sis. I love you, sis. But you know what? There's something that hit me. I was driving home. I work in Los Angeles, California. I'm from LA. I still work there. I live here now. And when I was driving back, something hit me. You know, this country goes after terrorists all over the world. I'm a veteran myself. Paratroop in the United States Army Corps. And all the way. So, my thing is, terrorists kill people. We go after those terrorists and we take care of business. Donald Trump is worse than any terrorist that we've ever gone after because he is a threat to everybody in the United States of these Americans. So my thing is, I know if I think like this, other people feel the same way. So why haven't we taken down that person? Because everybody that served in the military took an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States of America from foreign and domestic enemies. All. So my question is, how come they haven't handled this man?
Yeah.
How come?
You trying to take us to church early. It's not Sunday. It's not Sunday. I am going to say this. On the last attempt that took place in Rio Lago, earlier that day, I was on set at MSNBC about 4 hours before the incident took place. I was on set at MSNBC and they played some clips for me of him talking about the Haitians and then being asked about it because basically this is when the bomb threats started to come in. And so he was asked about it and whether or not he regretted the things that he said, and he was like, "Well, I don't know about what you're talking about. I have to look into what you're talking about the bomb threats, right?" And I made the exact same argument as I sat there on MSNBC. I said, "Listen, we all swear an oath, and I am telling you that Donald Trump and MAGA, that they are domestic. They are a domestic threat. That is what I said, and I meant every word of it, because to incite." You know, the type of harm and danger and anger and terrorism and hate and all the things, January 6th and before January 6th, as well as the things that have come behind that, and knowing that you lie. Like, you just flat out lying and you know you're lying. I mean, not that it's okay if you're not lying, but it's just that much more insidious because you know that you're lying. So here it is. This is actually CBC weekend. So I had all these events that I had to do on this particular day. So my last event was something for Simone Sanders, who's on MSNBC. And so I had been out all day. So I run into somebody else from MSNBC on my way out. And he said, "Yeah, so you know that this was Republicans with this last terrorist attack, or this last assassination attempt." And I was like, "Well, why are we talking about that? Because that was like," and he was like, and Mar-a-Lago. I was like, what are you talking about? So I had no idea. I go home, I get on social media. All of MAGA has blamed me and said that I incited it, because they not that smart. They just not. They just not, right? Because like, oh boy, they came all the way from Hawaii in the time that I was on MSNBC, and he voted for Trump before, but he's an anti-vaxxer, but he want to listen to me, which I never said to take anybody out, because I would never do anything like that. But my deal is, how is it that you can think that it makes sense for this person to hold the highest position in the world and literally be attacking people from within? You are absolutely disqualified. Like, before we get to policy, there is a certain level of decorum and morality that you must embody if you are going to be the highest of the land. And so that is why this election is so scary for me. You know, we don't talk about how much we travel internationally, right? They've mentioned about the vice president and the fact that she's visited with approximately 150 heads of states. We don't typically, like, because constituents be like, wait a minute, you in what country? What you know, y'all get in your feelings. But it is a part of the job, is to make sure that we are working on our relationships. And when I leave the country, every single time, the people that are most afraid of Donald Trump are our friends and allies around this world. They understand the threat. I don't understand why Americans don't understand the threat. And so when it comes down to it, you know, I can make all of the arguments, you know, in the world, and I appreciate the vice president, because if I had to argue, and this is me being 1,000%, she has had to work 50,000 times harder than any other candidate. And you know what? She is not flinching whatsoever. You tell me who else is going on fake news.
Right.
You tell me who else.
Fox Noise.
Right? But she's going to show you that she will show up in any daggone room, and that she will be a president for everybody in this country. He would never do half the stuff, nor is he being required to. We have way more offices set up. Our bench is so much deeper. They only show up for Trump. Listen, y'all about to have Obama here on Saturday. You got Doug here tomorrow. Like literally, and I am going everywhere. I'm genuinely not sleeping. I am everywhere. We are all traversing this country. We have the biggest bench. We have actual policies, not concepts. We have receipts. But because people fail to understand really what our job is, number one, and how it all works, we got people that's like, well, food prices is high, and so it's the president's fault. And by virtue of the president, it's the vice president's fault, because the vice president been there for almost 4 years. No, it's not that simple, right? Like, I have to go into rooms and I have to say, raise your hand if you're raising a farmer right now. Anybody in here? Y'all got some farmers at home that y'all raising? Are you sending them to the agricultural schools? Okay, exactly. So when people want to play in your face and act like the immigrants are the problem, no, they are the solution. That's right. They have always been the solution in this country. We are a country of immigrants, right? And so I have to tell people to Google things such as Japan, economy, and immigration, and find out about why Japan was on the brink of failing, because they decided that we're not going to let nobody else in. These folk are the ones that work our farms, because we don't. We tell everybody you got to go to college and be in all kinds of debt. We don't send them to the farms. So who's going to work the farms? Right? They not coming for our black jobs. Ain't none of y'all raised no hand saying that your children was going to the farm. So how are we going to keep prices down when the cost of the labor is high because we don't have enough people to work the farms? Like, all these things are interrelated, but you don't have time to have these kind of conversations in a matter of a TikTok. Like, we just don't. So, I mean, at the end of the day, y'all seem like y'all know what y'all doing. It seems like y'all understand the assignment. I'm just going to say that I'm going to encourage you to educate others. And I'm going to also say, get out of your own circles. Talk to someone that you would never talk to, because the election will impact every single one of us. And at this point, forget policy, because first of all, he ain't got none except for Project 2025, and that's the whole thing. But beyond that, we have to make sure that, number one, we know who our friends are. This is a guy who was sending COVID testing kits to Putin. But we didn't have what we needed here. Like, there are so many things that disqualify him. It is beyond belief that literally he is absolutely potentially going to become the next president. It is just that type. So it's important that we talk to every single body and we let them know what's going on. I'm getting all kinds of things.
We have one more question.
Okay. All right.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Hope you come back and hang out. I just wanted to keep it light. When you addressed representative from Georgia with the beach body comment, was that off the cuff or were you thinking about that for a while?
I was not thinking about that for a while. It was created in the moment. I looked over at her from head to toe, I guess. And that was that. She ain't came around me to try to play with me no more. You suck a bully and they'll sit down. But since that was a fun one, I'll go ahead and take this one.
Thank you. Real quick, you mentioned getting outside of our circles
Yeah.
and talking to other people,
Yeah.
particularly MAGA supporters. If you were to encounter a MAGA supporter
Yeah.
right now, give me an idea what you would say to them.
I actually did earlier today. It's always fun. Listen, this is what I tell people is take the names off of it. Forget the names.
Right.
Because it's not about, I mean, for Trump it is about him because he's trying to stay out of prison.
Right.
I am trying to send him to a house, but I need him to go to the big house, not the White House.
That's right.
But take the names off of it. Okay? Because at the end of the day, this election is about us and our future.
Right.
And so what I do, especially when I'm talking to people of color, is I say, could you ever imagine supporting someone who doesn't believe that there should be who doesn't believe that law enforcement officers should be prosecuted for killing us?
Right.
I just ask them. Or can you imagine supporting someone who, say, has the support of white supremacists? Because we know that the Proud Boys, we know that the KKK showed up in their full outfits in Connecticut at this rally. Like, I don't know what I have in common with somebody who is beloved and endorsed by David Duke. Like, we don't see the world the same. Like, I can't. Like, there's, so I just kind of go to the things. Or I talk about even taxing, right? Like, if you making hundreds of millions of dollars, do you think it's fair for somebody who's making hundreds of millions of dollars to pay a smaller percentage than you pay in taxes? Or do you think they should pay the same or potentially even higher than you pay? Or do you think it's fair that somebody, say, is relying upon SNAP benefits that only gives them $6 a day, and right now they're looking to cut SNAP by $30 billion? Like, I would pick out, if you talk to somebody, you actually know them, something that you think is important to them, and then just talk about the issues, because at the end of the day, we win on the issues every single time. And usually if I can educate somebody, then I can win them over. But there's a block if you then say Kamala Harris and they are Trumpers. So it's about just sticking to, because they can't even talk about policy. So if you just take the names off and say, hey, talk to me about where you stand on this. Talk to me about where you stand on this. And then ultimately there's a list and you say, well, you stand with Kamala Harris. And make them be like, wait. Thank y'all.
Representatives, we just truly appreciate you coming into our house. Michelle and Mel, as the proprietors of this place and as a member, and the only place that I pay to work. As we just really appreciate you taking the time and having the conversations and answering our questions. Tappan Ash family, let's give her a hand. We would love for, if we had a moment to take
tales untold in the smoky haze. Connections unfold with a puff of smoke. A bond is made, no time to waste. Let the memories cascade. So here's to the nights where the stories align. In the company of legends, my spirits entwine. With every puff taken, a bond we create. In this leather-bound haven, let's cherish our faith. Yeah!